In question 20 we're given the following table here, and we're told that this represents the concentration of four substances present in cells K and cell L, whose membranes are in contact. We're then asked to work out which movement of the substance between the two cells would require oxygen. So we have a series of options, A through D, and we're asked which of them represents a movement between these cells which requires oxygen. Now immediately when we think about a movement of cells, movement between cells requiring oxygen, we should think about active transport, which requires oxygen for aerobic respiration, which generates ATP, which is used to mediate active transport, which takes in energy. And active transport involves a movement against a concentration gradient, so that's the thing we should be identifying. So, since our four statements, A through D, refer to each of these rows of cytosine, glucose, magnesium and nitrate, we should quickly identify, given the relative concentrations in cells K and L, which of these movements, in which direction would the movement have to be for it to reflect active transport. So active transport is against a concentration gradient, so it's from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration normally. So in the case of cells K and L, in the case of cytosine, active transport would be from cell K to cell L. So under normal circumstances, actually excuse me for a moment, active transport would be movement from cell K into cell L against the concentration gradient. So that's what active transport would look like, represented by the green arrow. So in the case of cell K to cell, between cell K and cell L, active transport would be in this direction against the concentration gradient. Under normal diffusion it would go from K to L, but we're thinking about active transport which is L to K. Again, with respect to magnesium, we can say against the concentration would be in this direction, and the same can be said for nitrate ions. Okay, now let's think about what our statements A to D actually say. Statement A says that this movement will be of cytosine from cell L to cell K. Now we can say that this movement would not be active transport since these arrows are going in opposite directions. This reflects normal diffusion down a concentration gradient. Moving on to statement B, which describes the movement of glucose from cell K to cell L. So this again would be down a concentration gradient and therefore would not be active transport. Moving on to statement C, this describes the movement of magnesium ions from cell L to cell K. So this would be the movement described in the statement which does coincide with active transport. However, in the case of nitrate, it describes again movement from cell K to L, which goes against active transport. So our answer is option C, since both the arrows that we described, our theoretical active transport direction and the statement, happen to coincide. So our answer is going to be option C.